Yeah. Hello everyone. In this tutorial, I would like to discuss about the control statements, or I can say decision control statements in C language. In fact, we have seen the brief view about the control statements in C language. Let us discuss decision control statements in C. So, as you know, even in the real world scenarios, so we may make many decisions based on the some of the test conditions. For example, if you say um, if it is raining, you may be suggested to have umbrella with you. If the temperature is too cool outside, maybe you are suggested to wear a winter coat. Yes or no? So like this, maybe if temperature is body temperature is very high, then you may be suggested to take paracetamol. So, like these, there are situations where we will be taking the decisions based on the outcome of the test conditions. Such scenarios can be handled in programming language, in fact, by using decision control statements. So you can see, yeah, even in the programming language also, there is a need to perform the different kinds of tasks based on the outcome of the test condition. So in fact, we have seen decision control statements. These statements mostly uses the keyword if. So we have, I can say, you can implement these statements using simple if else, right? Nested if, or I can say nested if else. Am I right? So we have seen the syntax of these in the previous tutorial. So if you have not gone through the previous tutorial, I request you please go through the previous tutorial to understand the general syntax of these statements. And we have, say, last one is else if ladder. And today I would like to talk about these with some real-time examples so that you could able to understand the working principle of all these four categories, and you may write the programs on your own using these constructs. So basically these statements are going to use two keywords in C language, if and else. This if is a keyword and else is also keyword. What does it mean? I was telling you, whose meaning is already known to the compiler. If you are using if class and else class, this the meaning of these both the keywords is already explained to the compiler, so compiler could able to understand it directly. So let us look at the simple if first. You can see, yeah, on screen, if condition is true, so we are going to execute these statements. We say block of statements. And in fact, if the block of statements are more than one statement, then we use it to have open curly brace. I said closed curly brace. So we will be writing the statements here. In fact, if condition is false, you can see we will be executing the uh, code outside the main. I can say this is the code. Code outside the if. Code outside the if class, right? Fine. So you can see, let us try to understand this with simple example. In previous tutorial, I was talking about the simple if with a couple of examples, but I would like to revisit the same concept prior to I discuss about if else, nested if else, and else if ladder. So let us see. The program says that try to read the employee salary from the keyboard, and if the salary is less than 20,000, we have to add the bonus to the salary. So now what kind of decision you are going to take in this example is the input for the program is I say in what is the input? Input is salary of an employee, salary of an employee, fine, right? Now what would be the output? So you read salary of the employee and you take a decision on salary. So if salary is in fact if salary is say less than 20,000, so you are going to add some bonus to the employee, otherwise you are not going to add anything else. Am I right? So let me do that. How can I do that? So let me declare salary as an integer variable. So let it be int sal. So so let me scan the salary of the employee. So printf enter salary, enter salary, then try to scan it. Scan it, percentile d. So I have taken this as integer. If you want, you can take it as a float also. Percent salary. And now I would like to take the decision. If salary is say if sal is less than 20,000, so I am going to add the bonus, right? So salary is equal to what is that? So let me add the bonus given is 2,500. So let me add salary plus 2,500. Am I right? So then, so this will be true only if the salary is less than 20,000. Let me add one more zero. So otherwise this statement will never gets executed. So this statement will not, the updation of salary will never happens. So simply what I will do, if the condition is true, I will update the salary. Otherwise simply I will print the salary of the employee. So salary of the employee is, I can say, let me close this. So let me write percentile d because it is integer and say salary. Am I right? So what is been happened here is, you can see how printf is really working. Try to understand the working principle of this sorry, if statement. Okay, if this is true, salary gets updated. Otherwise what happens, just you take the salary and just you print the salary. So if this is false, the program simply reads the salary and prints the salary. But we are going to take the decision. So based on this if statement, if salary is less than 20,000, I would like to update. In fact, as I said earlier, I have only one statement. I have not written the curly braces. If you want, you can keep this in the curly braces also, open and close the curly braces. Guys, I hope you are now able to understand the working principle of the simple if. So even in the earlier tutorial also we have seen more than two problems. So let me move on to the simple if else. So how simple if else will work? In fact, in the earlier case, if condition is true, we are executing something. But if condition is false, we are not writing what to do. The remaining code outside the if block is getting executed. But in case of if else, so if condition is true, you test the condition. So simply, right, if condition is true, if it is yes, so execute this block of statements. If it is no, we are going to execute one more block of statements. So I say it is no. So here two blocks, you will be writing two blocks in the program, but only one block get executed in the if statement. Okay, either the block in the if or the block in the else gets executed. So normally, so this no part is represented with class else in the programming. So let us see what is the program given here. Write a program to read the age of the candidate and determine whether he or she is eligible to. So what is the input for this program? Let me know. Can you guess it? What is the input for this program, guys? So input for this program is age. Okay. So what is the age? Age is integer or not? So what is the output? The program has to print whether this person is eligible to vote or not. In fact, when do we say person is eligible to vote? If age is greater than 18, we say he is eligible to vote, otherwise we say he is not eligible to vote. So how do you do that? How do you write that program? You see, so I have taken a structure of the C program initially because this is common for every program. Let me declare this int age, and let us scan this from the keyboard. Printf, enter, age of a person, right? Then let me write scanf person age. So now I have to take the decision. How could I take? If age is greater than 18, simply I say that printf person is eligible to vote. Yes or no? Person is eligible to, fine. I hope you are understanding. So otherwise now if person age of the person is less than 18, what do we say? Else printf we say person is not eligible to vote. Fine. So that's what simple if else will be. The way the simple if else are really working. So if condition is true, we execute the block inside the if. So you can add even open parenthesis and closed parenthesis for this also. You can see, let it be. Yeah, because only one statement is there. I am not keeping this. If you want, you can add this. Fine. So I want one point to add to this concept of if. So for example, in if in the competitive exams, he will be giving like if say -2 printf say hi. So what would be the output? Is it error, compilation error, or runtime error? In fact, the output of this program is high. Output is high. So why? Because the point is any non-zero value within the if condition is taken as true. Any non-zero value, whether it is positive or negative. And some other point of time you may come across like if -2 printf high. So he may add semicolon after the if. So what happens? Do you think it is an error? No, it is not an error. In fact, if you write semicolon, what happens? This becomes if -2 semicolon. So if this is true, execute semicolon. So it is not an error. Compiler will not report any error here. And in fact, the semicolon gets executed. Whatever the rest of the code is there, that gets executed and you will get the output. So please add this point to the concept of you. So let me move on to the other program. So whether the given year is leap year or not. So how do you say that? So what is the input for this program? So input for the program is let it be year n. So output is we have the program has to print whether the n is leap year or not. So for this what you need is initially the student is expected to know the logic, mathematical logic, to evaluate whether the entered year is leap year or not. So in fact many students will feel that if uh, the year is divisible by 4, we say it is a leap year. So how do we do that, whether it is divisible or not? So if the remainder is 0, once if you divide it with 4, we say mostly we say it is a leap year. But in fact all the years which are divisible by 4 are not leap years. In fact you say 100 is not a leap year, 200 is not a leap year, 300 is not a leap year, 400, of course it is a leap year. So these are not leap years, but 400 is leap year. So means the 100 multiplied by 4, the year that you will get is a leap year. But remaining years which are numbers multiplied by 100, they are not leap years. So how can I can write this logic? Means the year must be divisible by 4, but it should not divisible by 100. So how can I do that? N percentile 4 must be equal to 0, and at the same time, so n percentile 100 should not be equal to 0. Means the year should be divisible by 4, but at the same time it should not divisible by the 100. So 4 is a leap year because it is divisible by 4 but not divisible by 100. 8 is a leap year, 12 is a leap year, so on. But 100 is a leap year, so for 100 this case. But however, for every 400 years the year comes as a leap year, means 800 is a leap year, 1200 is a leap year, 1600 is a leap year, 1400 sorry 2000 is a leap year. So all these are leap years. So means either this should be true, I say, or the n percentile 400 must be equal to 0. This is true, then we say it is a leap year. So this would be the actual mathematical logic the student has to understand before he writes the program. So what is that logic? So this is the logic. So here must be divisible by 4, but it should not divisible by 100. I'm sorry, let it be 100. Am I right? At the same time, but this condition is fails for 400, 800 because they are divisible by 4, but unfortunately they are also divisible by 100. So here this fails. So that is the reason why I am going for the OR condition here. You see, I am going for the OR condition. So then this will be true. Because what is the result of the OR condition? If one operand is true, then the result will be true. So that logic I am going to use. So how do I write the program? Tell me. Um, let me take. So let me take input for the program is n, int n, printf, enter the year. Enter the year. So then let me scan the value. So now you have to write the logic. So what is that logic? If n percentile 4 is equal to 0 and at the same time this n must not be divisible by not equal to 100, not equal to 0. Either this has to be happened or or symbol I am writing, operators. So this is the logical and, now this is the logical or this has to be happened, or n percentile 400 must be equal to 0. In such case, if this is true, we say year is leap year. We say year is leap year. Am I right? Else we say year is not a leap year. Am I right? So this is the way how this simple else will be used to solve the real world problems. So let me move on to the one more problem. So write a program to check whether the triangle can be formed by the given value of angle. So what does it mean? So if you take any triangle, so we have say A, B, C. So if you sum up these angles of A, B, C, for example, if I say A is equal to 90 degrees, B is equal to 45 degrees, what should be the C? C must be 45 degrees because the sum of the angles, say A plus B plus C, always must be 180 degrees. Then only it can form the triangle, or else it will not form the triangle. So let me read this. What is the input for this program? Angle of A, angle of B, and angle of C. So let me scan this. Let me declare this variable int A comma B comma C represents the angle of A, angle of B, and angle of C. Let me scan them. Enter angle of A comma B comma C. Right? So you scan it. Percentile D because three integers I am scanning. So let me place these values in ampersand A, ampersand B, and ampersand C. So what is the logic now? You check whether the sum is equal to, if A plus B plus C is equal to 180 degrees, then we say printf Yeah, you can say triangle can be formed. Triangle can be formed. So else, what do you say? Else, printf, we cannot form. Triangle cannot be formed. So this is the application of simple if else cannot be formed with the given angles. Am I right? So this is the application of simple if else. So I request the students to practice more problems. Let us go for nested if and nested if else. What does it mean? Sometimes you may want to execute set of instructions based on the outcome of more than one conditions. It could be like if condition, fine. Then again you may execute one more test condition. Then you want to execute something. So or else you want to do something. Fine. This could be the case. Or sometimes you may execute if condition, say condition C1. Within that you want to execute condition C2. Fine. And if this is false, condition C2 is false, you may execute else for condition C2. Or else if condition C1 itself is false, okay, then you may execute the else block. Even within this else also, you can write one more if or if condition let it be C3. Okay, you can execute something. Fine, let me write. And else you can execute something. What is been happened here is you have written if else. Okay, you have written, you can see, let me highlight this with red color. So what you have written here, you have written if inside the if. We can say it is a nested if, writing if statement inside the one more if. What is the purpose of doing this? Because we would like to execute certain set of instructions based on the outcome of the multiple conditions. The example we will see. So in the next slide. So what you have done? You have done here, you have written if else within the if, and also if else. Am I right? And also if else within the else. So it is optional. You may write if else either in the else or in the if, or you, okay. Sometimes simple if and else, within the else you may go with if else. As I said earlier, if can exist on its own. If can exist on its own without else also. So let us see the proper example for it. So the example is the program has to print the greatest among the three numbers. What does it mean? So let me take a is equal to 5, b is equal to 6, and sorry 6, and c is equal to say 4. What is the greatest? Greatest is b. Greatest is b. So I want to write a simple C program that uses the concept of this nested if else to print the biggest among the three numbers. So how can I do that? So what is the input for this program? Input is three numbers. Maybe let it be a comma b comma c. You can assume you want, you can go with xyz also, not an issue. So what are these? Let me declare them as int a comma b comma c. So let me scan these values. Print up, enter the values of values of a comma b comma c. Am I right? So let me scan it. Scan it. So how can I do that? These are three integers, so 3 percentile d's. So ampersand a comma ampersand b comma ampersand c, dropping in the memory of abc variables. Now let me write the logic. How could I write? So if, because I want to implement this with nested if else. In fact, this could be implemented using simple if, even if else also. So, okay, if a greater than b is true, so I want to check again if a greater than c is also true. Yes or no? Then only I can print So let me printf. So what does it mean? A greater than B is true and A greater than C is true. A is big. A is big. Am I right? But if this is false, if A greater than C is false, what does it mean? A is already greater than B, but I am sorry, A is less than C. What does it mean? Else I can write, let it be else. So can you guess it? A is greater than B but less than C. Who is big? C is big. Is that no? In fact, let me close this if. So this is for this if. Close is for. So in fact, A greater than B itself is false. What does it mean? Means B is greater than A, then only we come to this else. When B is greater than A, let me check whether B is greater than C also. Then what does it mean? Printf. Yeah, C is big. Am I right? Else, how can I say? If B greater than A is true, but B is less than C, then what happens? So B greater than A is true, but B less than C. Means what does it mean? C is greater than B, B is greater than A. Means C is big. So let me write print. Sorry, C is big. If B less than C, if it is true, wait. So what we have done? So we come here. If B greater than A, okay, and B greater than A and B greater than C. Sorry, here B is big. Am I right? B is greater than A and B is greater than C. B is big. Else B is greater than A but B is less than C. Then C is big. Am I right? So simple program. I want you to practice more on this else. So what I have written, in fact, this is handled using. If you observe it very carefully. So I have written if else. You can see here. I have written this if else inside the if, even if else inside the else. So this we call it as nested if else. So let me move on to the else if ladder. Only left over is else if ladder. So how else if ladder works? The else if ladder normally used to text more number of conditions. Among if one condition is true, so the statements written in that block gets executed. How it will be? So I can write if condition C1 is true, do this, and if this is false, so else, because if this is false, I don't want to execute the instructions in the else. I want to text one more test condition. Maybe this is false. You may be not first year student. Let me check whether you are second year student. Let me check whether you are third year student. Let me check whether you are fourth year students, so that I can decide you belongs to say some engineering college. Okay. Else I would like to test one more test condition. Let it be C2. And if this is true, this do something. Even this is not true. I want to execute I want to test one more test condition, so on. You can put n number of conditions. In the worst case, we go with the else. If no condition is true among the multiple conditions, we will go with the worst case else part. You can see on screen, if the student score is given as a input for the program, if greater than 9, program prints is getting A grade. Greater than 90, right? If it is score is greater than 80, let it be examination score or percentage of marks, anything it could be. So it is printing B. You can see the flow chart. So how do you write the program for this? In fact, so what is that? So examination score, let it be float score, is the let it be the input for the program. Okay, fine. So what is the input for this program? Exam score. Exam score. What is the output? You have to print the grade obtained by the student. So let me scan it. So simply print enter score obtained by the student by the student. So let me scan it because I said it is float. How do I scan percentile f because real number ampersand score. So you can start now writing the if statement. If score is greater than or equal to 90, simply we say printf his grade is A grade. Printf A grade. Right? Fine. Else if else followed by the space and if score is say greater than or equal to 80, say printf, okay, we say B grade, and then let me write here, okay, continuation. So else if score, else and if has a space, remember score is greater than or equal to 70, printf say C grade, let it be. Else if it may not be true, let me check it. Else if score is greater than or equal to 60, we say sorry, you cannot place this semicolon. Printf, tell me what is that. Let it be D grade. So you can put n number of test conditions over there. So based on that, one block of statements gets executed because in the given problem he says else printf student is failed. Printf is he or she is failed. Fine. So this could be the case. So this is the way how you can write multiple test conditions. If one condition is true, you check other condition. So, but the point is only one block gets executed. If this is true, so if this is true, in fact, so rest of the conditions will not be tested. So the compiler will not test the rest of the conditions. So only if gets executed. So any one block gets executed. So that's what the meaning of else if ladder. So let me write one more program. That's what the important program in BTech course. How do you print the roots of a quadratic equation? So what is it? Quadratic equation means we say ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So how do you find the roots? Let it be r1 and r2 are two roots. So in mathematics, what we do, we calculate the determinant first. To determinant d is equal to, we say b square minus 4ac, right? So if d is equal to 0, so if d is equal to 0, so what is the roots are? R1 is equal to, we say minus b by 2a, R2 is equal to also minus b by 2a. Am I right? If d greater than 0, if d greater than 0, then we say R1 is equal to, so let me calculate what is the formula, minus b plus square root of d by 2a, and R2 is equal to, we say minus b minus square root of d, we say by 2a. This is what we apply in the mathematics, simple mathematics. Am I right? And if d is less than 0, d is less than 0, roots are imaginary. Yes or no? Roots are imaginary. This is what the mathematical logic we apply. So this can be done even using simple if statements. But instead of that, what I can do is I can apply if d is equal to 0, else if d less than 0, and worst case we say else. So if both these are not true, if is not true, else if is not true, then I can say it could be d less than 0. That's what the possible cases are. So let us, how do we implement? So I have taken here, you can see the program. So a b c are the coefficients of the quadratic equation, and d is used to calculate the determinant. Am I right? I have taken roots as real numbers. So I have calculated determinant here. Now check it once. If d is equal to 0, what you need to do? So roots, you can assign the roots as like this. say x1 is equal to minus b by, let it be 2.0 star a. Why 2.0? Because integer by integer becomes integer, so roots are floated values. So if I keep 2.0 over there, so one operand is real, then the result is real, so that's why I have taken it as 2.0. Now what about x2? Even x2 and x1 are equal, so I can say you can assign x2 is equal to x1 and you can print the roots. Printf roots are equal, am I right? Roots are equal. A new line, and they are so percentile f, how do you write x1 comma x2, so that's it. So end of the if. Else if, you can check it. Else if d greater than 0, if d greater than 0, we say, how do you calculate? So x1 is equal to, I said, minus b minus square root. In C programming we have function called as sqrt, which is available in math.h, so that you need to supply the square root of the number here. It will be, let it be d. So we say by 2a, square root is float, so you need not to write 2.0. Square root will return the floated value of the number being passed. So what about x2 is equal to minus b plus sqrt d, am I right, by 2 star a. Fine. So let me print. So printf roots are real and unequal and unequal. What are the roots? Let it be new line. They are percentile f. What are these? x1 comma x2. So this may be true, or else if this is not true, means this is false, and if this is false, so then we say worst case we go with the else. What is the else? Simply printf roots are, if less than 0, we say roots are imaginary. Am I right? So that's it. This is the way how the else if ladder will work out. So I request the students to do these problems, to practice these problems, so that you could able to understand the working principle of simple if else if ladder, and nested even if else. So to, if you are struggling still to write the solutions for these problems, you can refer to this website, and in this website they have given the solutions also. Okay, so you can see there are 5 programs are given. I request all of you to practice these 5 programs, so that everybody could able to enjoy the working principle of if else, nested if else, and else if ladder. That's it from my side. In the next tutorial I would like to discuss repetitive or loop control statements in C language. That's it from my side.